Alright, we're back on game. I want to say this right now, man, because you know what? After the things I've seen over the previous week since I did the last video, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I already told you that I'm not going to spend too much time on Twitter posts, and I'm not, alright? But some of this shit just has to be addressed. So I have to say this before I get started, get the fuck out of here with this childish bullshit. You've got to be kidding me that this is going on. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to start off today with Adam Sessler and his bullshit. That's right. Because for those who didn't see what he tweeted, not only did he take a shot at us consumers, alright, not just the industry, but he just thinks that he's bigger than everything at this point, and he's going to go to extremes just like the rest of these fucking idiots do. Fucking kidding me, Adam Sessler? Look, and I'll put it like this, because he loves to say, I want to read this. It says, I'm truly embarrassed for this industry. If anything, the industry should be embarrassed by you. Because you've got to be kidding me if you're going to sit here and compare people who buy video games and with ethics and journalism to chemical weapons dealers' consumers. Do you realize that those consumers, when they're paying out, we're talking about chemical weapons dealers, okay, and their consumers, when they're paying out, those chemical weapons, they're going to kill mass amounts of people. You understand that, right? You get that, right? There's a reason they have the UN and they shut down things, right? You've got to be kidding me if you think that's okay to compare that to people who buy fucking video games. You are disgusting. And this is coming from a person, Adam Sessler, who was mad because he didn't get a PS4 for free. You've got to be kidding me. This is the shit I'm talking about. You always go to this extreme when it comes to comparisons. ISIS, pedophiles, murderers. And this is what you do. Have you not understood that you've become everything that you have fucking hated? Mind you, Adam Sessler, you're the person who went on the news and said, video games don't cause murders. Mind you, those people said they compared us to murders when we buy violent video games. Now you're doing it yourself. I cannot sit here and believe... You've got to be fucking kidding me, man. How do you still have a job? I'm trying to figure this out. Because if this was said in any other business, in a real business, that's right, in a real business, you would be fired. You know that. Mind you, same Adam Sessler also, who bagged on the consumers years ago. Mind you, I've been telling fans for a long time, do not trust Adam Sessler. Don't trust him because he's not a gamer, alright? All he wants to do is bag on you. And what happened? Lo and behold, him and Morgan Webb, remember the whole, Mega Man Legends 3 fiasco? Remember how they blamed the fan base for it not coming out? Remember how they called you a bunch of fucking crybabies? Remember that shit? Yeah, see? There's so much to Adam Sessler that you can just keep digging on him. And the fact that this guy has followers after saying some nasty, ignorant shit like that, you've got to be kidding me. No way. But of course, no consequences. And that's what we need these days. We need more fucking consequences. And this is to the industry. It's amazing how you can sit here and say, us gamers are dead. But these people, you know what? No, I'm not going to go that far. We're going to keep moving forward. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this. For those who don't know what happened also last week, National Cleavage Day. Let's talk about it. That's right, because as we know, this wasn't gaming related. At first, it wasn't at least gaming related, alright? And then Lionhead Studios put out a tweet that was just supposed to be in good fun. This is what they tweeted. Of course, when they tweeted that, every SJW came out of the woodwork and had them, to take down the tweet. And they had to apologize for things. And this is what I understand, okay? Because this is something that, game developers didn't make up. Gamers didn't make up. No one made up this day. This is one of those days that, once again, you can have, oh, look, tomorrow's National Cookie Day, National Cleavage Day. It's bullshit. We know the day is bullshit, but you try to have fun with it as much as possible. If you can't take that fucking joke, there's something fucking wrong with you. However, I will put it like this. These people who sit here and get mad, because that's what they do, let's be honest here. Anything that they scream is sexism. You know what it really is? They're sex shaming. Sexuality shaming. That's what they're doing at this point. And we know this. We've seen this. And they, like I said, last video, they were trying to censor people. They're doing it again. Yeah, they are. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But you have to understand that a lot of them can't even catch on. They can't even keep up, with their own ideology. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Brianna Wu. Let's get started. Because this is what Brianna Wu had to say about Bayonetta. Now, during that time that people was mad at Bayonetta, apparently Brianna Wu wasn't mad. However, this is what Brianna Wu said when Lionhead Studios put out that tweet. You can't even keep up with what you're about these days. And who the fuck are you, Brianna, who to tell someone else, a developer, that they need to pledge that they won't do it again? Are you fucking serious? Get the fuck out of my face, this old bullshit. Seriously. But that's not all. Because we're seeing these type of things with developers, we're seeing a lot of hashtags, you know, let devs speak and things of that nature. For those who don't know what's going on, because I'm coming back to Bayonetta in a minute, I want to talk about this, alright? Developers are being denied media coverage for socio-political stances. That's right, a number of developers have come out. Now, listen, I'll put the article in the info bar for you so that you can read. A number of developers have come out on Twitter and said this. They are being silenced simply for the fact that they have a difference of opinion. Once again, censorship. I'm getting so sick and tired of seeing this bullshit. You cannot sit here and say, well, if you don't agree with me, it's harassment, you're a harasser, we're going to put you on a list, and then we're going to sit here and silence you the entire time when it comes to the media. And these are from people who aren't even in the industry doing this. That's ridiculous. You really are trying to ruin people's jobs, aren't you? While still being able to, you know, to go along and say what you want without any consequences yourself. That is bullshit. And like I said, I want to get back to Bayonetta, because for those who don't know what happened, alright? I want to talk about Bayonetta for a minute. For those who know, some idiot, I'm not going to put the link in the info bar because it's such a fucking laughable piece of tripe article, alright? This woman comes out and bags on Nintendo, alright, for, you know, promoting their female characters. She goes on to say that Bayonetta is not mainstream. She goes on to say, out of all fucking people, she goes on to say that Samus, who has been around since the fucking 80s, is not mainstream. And because of these type of things that we're saying, you just say, okay, I'm going to laugh this off. It's bullshit that they're writing these articles. It's baity. It's clickbaity. That's why I'm not putting it in the info bar, alright? But SJWs have to stick with each other so bad, and their white knights are riding up their ass so much that they gotta try and co-sign them. Because this was said by Matt Bender when it came to Twitter. Let me get this straight. None of these characters are mainstream. There's an entire list. Hell, even if you have been playing these games since back in the day, you can pop into New Smash and know these characters. But apparently, they're not mainstream. This is why I don't understand, okay? When you get a job, you were hired because you were at, you know, you were more, how can I put this? You were more qualified to have that job over another person. Your level of expertise is higher than said person that you're going against to get that job. Am I correct? Okay, so when you have people like Bender coming out and saying bullshit like this, I have to ask, why are you here? Why are you here? Because clearly you don't have the expertise to talk on this issue. You don't know these games. You haven't played these games. Or you wouldn't be saying that these things are not mainstream. It's bullshit. These characters, people know these characters, people love these characters, and yet you do this. Like I said, if it's not for attention and trolling, which is the most childish shit I've ever seen, then obviously you are just ignorant to the facts, and you're just trying to back people. And you know what? That's what Gamergate is against. Because when you have this problem where you're just going to push this shit to the moon instead of using ethics and using sound logic, there is a problem. And yeah, we're going to call it on you every fucking time. Now I want to move on, since that was a nice segue when I talked about Smash, and Bayonetta, and Samus, and all these characters that we love. Let's get into fighting games real quick. That's right. I need to talk about this because even though I talked about, you know, idiots in the media talking all this trash, you know, and just making themselves look stupid, gamers are also making themselves look stupid as well. For those who don't know, Mortal Kombat X, let's start with this, alright? Because we know now that a lot of people are being revealed. We just saw, was it yesterday, Briggs was revealed, and it looked great. But beyond all of this, you know, that we're seeing all these character reveals, now we have a problem. And for those who know what I'm talking about, MKX producer quits Twitter over threats. That's right. Now, people, for those who did not see what happened, this guy, some clown, just random clown, went over and got mad at a producer because a specific character wasn't in the game. This was the tweet that he sent that made the producer quit Twitter. Now, clearly, the guy is a fucking troll. We can see that. Now, we've also had this discussion on Twitter and other forums and said, you know, hey, look, why are people using this technology that we have to connect with each other these days? If this is the best that they can use, you know, use for it, then they're fucking losers. And that guy is a fucking loser, hands down. I mean, there's no rap about it, okay? However, the NetherRealm Studio, you know, NetherRealm Studios and their community over at Test Your Might, they reported the guy because they said, this is uncalled for, this doesn't represent us, and they reported him and got him suspended. That's what they did. I'll put the links in the info bar so you can actually see, the thread and everything that went on there. I actually clicked on the guy's name and it was suspended. So they did their job, so good job, NetherRealm, Studios, and good job, Test Your Mic community. That's what you did. You did the right thing. However, a lot of people are saying now that the producer, they felt as though he didn't need to retweet what was being said. They felt as though he was grandstanding. They felt as though he was bringing attention to it more than it really needed to. And as you know, the producer has already said that, look, he doesn't have a problem with people being passionate and people sending him threats over a said character that's not in the game. However, towards him, he can handle himself. But when you start threatening his family, it's a completely different story. And this is the problem that we're having right now with people. Because let's be honest here. If you're threatening one person, it's one thing. People are not going to take that. But when you threaten their family like that and everything, they're going to get a bit serious, all right? And some of these people on the internet, they're not going to play that shit. You know what I mean? They're really going to say, oh, you want to threaten my family? I'm going to come find you first. We know how that is, all right? Some people will be very protective over that. For people to act this way over, said threats, over a character not being in the game, it shows where your priorities are. Like I said, if you're trolling, it shows you're immature. If you're dead serious about this, you're a fucking, matter of fact, it doesn't matter which way you look at it. You're a fucking loser. You need a fucking hug as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of people who need fucking hugs, let's talk about this right now, alright? Tekken 7, that's right. Now, for those who did not see the reveals for Jin and Josie, I want to make sure I get this right, Jin and Josie Rizal, alright? For those who didn't see that, I'll put the link in the info bar for that. And Harada actually did an interview for both of them. The characters look great. To be quite honest, for me, being a Jin fan, Jin looks kind of strong. He looks really overpowered. But that's just me, okay? That's just me. Like I said, the game's not, nowhere near complete, I wouldn't think yet. But seeing Jin and then Devil Jin, and some people say Edge Jin, He's really strong this time around. He really is, as opposed to other factors. I'm sure that people will debate that in the comments or whatever, and that's fine, you know what I mean? But now we have a problem on our hands. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, the NCCA Cultural Educator is unhappy with Josie Rizal. Now, I want to talk about this because it says here, and I want to get, if I don't get the pronunciation right, my Filipino people, hey, it is what it is. I'm not Filipino, okay? So if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. But you can see I'm trying, so suck it up, okay? Now, I'll put it like this. It says, Kenyette noted that the Tekken character sports skimpy wear with the costume bearing the colors of the Philippine flag. It says, he now plans to take steps to correct, and it says in parentheses, to correct. It says, any wrong impression Josie Rizal may have given about Dr. Rizal and the Philippines. Though he declined to elaborate how he plans to do this, the GMA Cebu report said that the Josie Rizal character is the first Filipina in the Tekken series and specializes in Filipino martial arts. Filipino martial art eskrima, and kickboxing, according to Bandai Namco. See, so reading too fast. Okay, now I want to say this now. All right, that you see that because I'll put the link in the info bar. We're talking about it. Look, if you're going to get mad and say, this is the reason that we are mad because of a character wearing skimpy clothing, for those who have not seen Josie yet, you know what? This is what Josie is wearing when she fights. To be honest, it doesn't look that skimpy. It doesn't look like it's a big deal. We've seen, as we know, we've seen worse in video games. However, if you're going to sit here and say that that's skimpy, because she's the first Filipino or whatever, then I have to ask this guy, why didn't you get mad at Talim's outfits in Soul Calibur? Once again, inconsistency by these type of people who get so upset, and I will put it like this. I'll put the links in the info bar. If you look at the comments, Filipinos, it does not matter if man or woman, they are saying, I have no problem with this character. I have no problem with the way she looks. She looks awesome. She represents us in a great way. How can this guy be mad? So it seems like he's the only one that's mad. That's what it seems like. Everyone else is cool with it, but this guy is going to try and make a statement. That's what's going on right now. And here's the sad part about this, all right? Because for those who don't know, Harada has said already, he will delete the character if the NCCA pushes for the name change. So all they got to do is push for the name change, and the character is completely gone. You notice we have seen this as of late. This is twice now we've seen this, all right? We saw this not too long ago with the other character, did we not? With Lucky Chloe. Now, we're seeing it with Josie. And I put it like this. This reminds me too much of what Capcom went through with Resident Evil 5. Because you have to understand, you're just now switching off now. It's, okay, well, we don't like the garb that the people are wearing in Resident Evil 5, therefore it's racist. Now you're saying the garb is too skimpy for this character, therefore it's sexist. Do you understand? I can't be the only one that sees this. This is clearly a mistake of Japanese developers trying to do something and not really knowing the entire history of, and then people just dogpiling on them. That's what it is. You've got to be kidding. Like I said, and it's not, like I said, it's not everyone, okay? Because majority of fans who are Filipino they like the character. They have no problems with the character. It's just this guy's being a fucking douche. That's what it is. And he looks like he's going to get his way if he does this. Harada should not back down from this as far as I'm concerned. Stick to your guns on this one. I want to move on. I want to talk about Smash. For those who don't know, Nintendo is taking suggestions from fans on who to put in Smash next. That's right. I'll put the link in the info bar. They're taking suggestions. You can actually put in, your gender, the name of the character, why, things of that nature. All right. So just to let you know, Nintendo is doing this. I thought it was fake since they revealed this yesterday, since it was April Fool's, but apparently not. So I'll put the link in the info bar for you Smash fans who want to see different characters in the game. By all means, have at it. You know what I mean? Now, I want to move on to Sony. I'm very disappointed in Sony. Very, this week after seeing the news. Now, first up with Sony, I want to talk about how there's a new PS2 emulator that that's appearing, and they're asking for testers. So for anyone who is interested, some of you fans put that in, in the comment section last week, so I wanted to make sure I followed up with that. Just in case you're interested in the PS2 emulator, I'll put the link in the info bar, okay? Now, also, PS4, let's get to this, alright? The PS4 update, I believe, was the 2.50, bricks a gamer's console, and Sony wants $150 to fix it. Now, we've seen this with the PS3 as well, and we saw every time that Sony does something wrong, they want you to pay for their mistakes. That was the problem before. They should be ashamed of themselves at this point. There's no way that you can keep doing that, alright? But, no. It gets worse. Alright, for PS4 users, please, we already talked about how you're cutting off certain games online. Please pay attention, okay? PS4 users, because you're paying for online. And this is the type of customer service that you're getting, okay? Now, the next one. It says, Sony won't refund a PS4 user who lost $600 from a hack. Alright? $600. Alright? They're only going to refund them $150 in PSN credit. However, check this out. However, if you dispute it with your bank, they will delete your account completely. So if you want to get your money back, and you go through your bank, because they're not going to give you all your money. No, they're going to delete your account. So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Do you see what Sony's pulling here? And you want me to buy a PS4? Really? With that type of service that you're paying for monthly, that's the type of customer service you're getting. You've got to be fucking kidding me, Sony. Seriously, if it shows that the person did not do this, and apparently they have evidence, alright? And Sony says, we're only going to give you $150 back. We're going to keep the rest of your money. And then you say, well, if you go through your bank, as you know, anybody, because that's the adult thing to do, if they won't, if they don't want to give you your money back, you go through your bank, you dispute the charges through your card. And that's how you get your money back. Now they're threatening, we'll just take your account if you do that. Disgusting. Disgusting. Also, Sony, you have a lot of problems this week. Also, Sony to axe free-to-play PS Vita title after its first year. No refunds are offered on acquired currency. You gotta be kidding me. See, Sony, this is all you, Sony. There's no defending this. There really isn't at this point. Especially for all you people who pay for their service. Like I said, until Sony gets their shit together, they don't have to worry about me buying a PS4, especially with their fucking service. They know better than this. Now it's turning to greed. Now you see why people don't like Sony. And I'm a big supporter of Sony, but you can't do that to consumers. That's absolutely disgusting. You think you'd have learned from the last time with the PS3, but nope, apparently you didn't. Let's move on, man. Bloodborne. Now, for those who don't know, there's a serious Bloodborne progress bug that discovered from fighting a boss, okay? Also, in Bloodborne, it succumbs to a 44-minute speed run with glitches and exploits. Now, when that article was written, understand, they did say they acknowledged that it will be patched out. A couple hours later, literally a couple hours later, Bloodborne patch fixes game-breaking bug. So, you can't use the keys anymore. So they really jumped on the ball with that. We still know, though, that PC fans really want Bloodborne. We will see what happens with that, okay? We will. However, I do want to talk about one thing that I've seen a lot as late, and you fans last week talked to me about it. You wanted me to talk about it. GameStop. Okay, for those who don't know what happened, GameStop likes to throw away things when they really don't need to. And apparently a gamer called them out on it by doing dumpster diving. So let's look just a little bit of that real quick.
Wonderful GameStop dumpster. Look at all these games that they throw away. So here's something I want to figure out. GameStop, I have a question for you. Let's use this bag as an example. Why is it that you throw away all of your items instead of donating them to kids? Let's say we got Madagascar, you could donate this to a hospital. You've cut the disc. Let's say we got Ninja Gaiden. You've cut the disc. Battlefield, you've cut the disc. SOCOM, I'm glad you cut the disc. Call of Duty, cut the disc. MLB, cut the disc. Mass Effect, cut the disc. You've cut the disc on every single disc there is. And I even found Grand Theft Auto 5 in here. That is a new game. Why would you cut the disc? Halo, cut the disc. GameStop. Power to the players? Really? Why don't we go ahead and show everybody else what you're doing as well? An entire box full of, let's see, more games. Whatever this is, you've cut the cord. Controllers, you've cut the cord. Everything in here is broken and useless because you couldn't donate it because y'all are cheap. You buy your games cheap, you sell your games high, and you're cheap. This. I can actually probably still use this. There's no way for you to cut the cord. Point being, let's see, what's the most expensive item you have in here? Turtle Beaches. Did you? Yes, you cut the cord. What is wrong with you people? You can donate this. You can give this to people. You can give this to hospitals. You can actually write that off as a tax write-off. You know what? You may have cut the Turtle Beaches, but I can splice that cable. It's a good thing I know electrical engineering. Whatever this is, you've cut the cord on everything. GameStop, you're horrible. I don't know why you would do this. People can use that.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a really good video because it really does put GameStop on the spot. Now, I will say this, okay? GameStop did respond to that and say we do, donate our games to a number of charitable organizations, which they do. However, there is a problem within that, in that article, because in the comments section, you have people who are defending GameStop. If you've never worked in retail, you don't know how it is. Games are defective, blah, 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 blah. Look, all right? I'll tell you straight up. Because I worked at Electronics Boutique before they took over and took over all these other places and made it GameStop because they took over Funko Land and all that stuff. I will put it like this, all right? We checked the stuff in the back. We did, okay? But understand this. A lot of good stuff was thrown out. And I'm not just talking about games. We're also talking about magazines and things of that nature. You also have to understand that even though they're donating, said games, majority of the stuff that does work, they throw out. Majority of those magazines, they could be recycled. Controllers could be recycled. I'm not trying to hear that all of a sudden GameStop does enough as a company and I'm going to defend them. Fuck that, okay? Because the fact is GameStop isn't doing enough. I know a number of people who still work at GameStop, you know what I mean? And say, look, this is what we have to do. Managers, this is what we have to do. And yeah, the products are good, but we can't, that really has no monetary value, so we slash the discs. All right, not because they're defective, but because they can't get anything for them. And yeah, a portion of it goes to whatever said charity, but there's still a good portion that doesn't. That is still good. And these guys, as you can see in these dumpsters, they find them when they die for it. So yeah, GameStop, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should. I'm not trying to hear that all of a sudden you're doing enough. No, you're not doing enough. As much money as you make, you don't do enough. You don't. So I'm not trying to hear that. Okay? So let's move on. Because it was really disgusting to see the comments. I'm just saying, it was really disgusting to see the comments and people trying to defend them when clearly, and then trying to use the, well, you've never worked in retail. Bullshit, okay? They do this all the fucking time. They do. Now, I want to move on. I want to talk about Square Enix. Square Enix wants your feedback on the Final Fantasy 15 demo. How about this, Square Enix? You want feedback on the demo? Why don't you bring it to the PS3 and the Xbox 360, which it was originally supposed to be on, but then you decided to opt for next generation. Why don't you do that? You won't do that, huh? Matter of fact, you're getting ready to cut the online play for Final Fantasy 11. Why don't you make it free to play? You want some feedback, huh? Get out of my face with this garbage, man. No, I don't care about your feedback. So, Square Enix, you can go fuck yourself as far as I'm concerned, because that is crazy that you would take something that was supposed to be for the PS3 and the 360. They were supposed to be on those systems. Then you moved it to next gen, which fine, you want to move it to next gen, fine. But you still go back and you give it to the last gen. That's what you're supposed to do. Because that's what it was originally slated for. What's wrong with you? Whatever. In more news, Borderlands. Yep, Xbox One and PS4 frame rate problems are reported. So people who got Borderlands, you should know it's been reported. Hopefully they fix it. Alright, but as we know with Borderlands, if you played Borderlands throughout this entire time, and so many people were mad, you know, all the glitches and things, we'll see what happens. Okay? Now also, speaking of things that happen, here we go again. Sega. Yeah, Sega shutting down Initial D Perfect Shift Online for 3DS. How many times do we have to talk about how servers, how they have to be maintained? They should be maintained. Like, if you're going to make this an all-online experience when it comes to taking away arcades and things of that nature, you have to preserve these servers. Alright? You have to. I mean, how else are you going to play with other friends? Because as we know, these days, you won't even let us play co-op or LAN play with games because of the fact, I'm not just saying Sega, I'm saying the industry in general. Okay? With LAN playing games, because you want us on your networks. So, seriously, every time I see a server go down, all it does is upset me. Because this is the future of what they're going to do. Like I said, we talked about this last week. All they got to do is give you 3 months. That's all they're obligated to do, 3 months, and then you're on your own. And you're paying for these services. You're not paying for the 3DS, of course, but I mean, with network play in general. You know what I mean. So it just goes to show you. Also, let's talk about Devil May Cry. Capcom! Oh my God, Capcom! Let's start this right now. For those who don't know, first off, Devil May Cry 4, special edition, Vergil will have moves from DMC, fake Dante game, yeah. He'll have some moves from there to fill out his moveset, okay? So just to let you know that. Also, there's a petition, because for those who don't know, Capcom has decided that in the West, because they're not, in Japan, they're going to get a physical release. In the West, you're not going to get a physical release at all. It's all digital. And fans are mad. That's right. We've seen it over on Capcom Unity already that fans are on forums that are mad. They're demanding, because they want to buy the game, but they're not going to do it digitally. All right? And now there's a petition for the special edition, digital only, in the West. They want a physical release, so I'll put the petition in the info bar for you. Also, check this out. For those who don't know why Capcom is decided to only make a digital release in the West, this is what they say, okay? It is too complicated to put on the disc. I'm just going to let that sit in for a minute. It's too complicated to put on the disc. And then there's a bunch of maze and possibly... you gotta be kidding me, Capcom. Are you afraid of money? Is that it? Or is it the fact that you are scared that DMC garbage that you put out will get buried? Is that it? Because that had a physical release in the West. Because it was catered to the West, remember? With a bunch of cliches and bullshit writing. That you put on, on disc. This, though, you can't put on disc. Japan got it on disc, but apparently it's too hard to put on disc in the West. Are you serious? Capcom! You gotta be kidding me! But, you know what? Definitive edition, though. Because that's what you wanted to do, right? You wanted to put this on the, on the West for DMC Dante. Not Dante, but Dante. However, your definitive edition that everyone wants to praise, as we saw, wasn't locked at 60 frames per second, and you didn't get rid of the glitches in the game! And there's a lot more where that came from, just to let you know that, okay? There's a lot of, videos showing all the glitches, but let's move on, because definitive edition though, right? Yeah, definitely trash as far as I'm concerned. Let's move forward, alright? Nintendo, again. Nintendo pulls the plug on fan-made Mario 64 HD remake. Mind you, just in November, Nintendo had said that they were going to, support fan-made games. Now they're pulling this. You've got to be kidding me, Nintendo. Also, you know what? Maybe we need to have a talk with people who make fan-made games. All right, now I'll say this, all right? Because a lot of us talked about this issue on Twitter. Understandably, people want to promote their games that they're coming out with, right? When it comes to the fan-made games. However, we know that games that have copyright, they're going to cease and desist, a lot of companies. So this would be my advice to you, people who make fan-made games. Because you make great fan-made games, okay? You do. But maybe you should wait until the game is completed first, and then promote it, and just blindside everybody with it, so that everyone downloads it at once. So by the time that the company understands or finds out that it's going, that it's been made, and they try to slap you with a cease and desist order, guess what? Everyone would already have it, everyone would be already sharing it, and you wouldn't have that problem. Because we are seeing way too many fan-made games now come out. Before they even come out, they're being slapped with cease and desist. We've seen that for years, before it's even finished. I would suggest to keep it under wraps until the full product is done, then throw it out there like it was just a punch to the face out of nowhere. And then when everyone gets it, and it's like hotcakes, take it on, and then we say, okay, we're going to shut you down. Say, all right, we'll shut you down, but everyone else has it, and it's already being shared everywhere else. So they can't stop it. That's how you should do it at this point, because it's sad that Nintendo would say that, we're going to support fan-made games, and then stop this one. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Also, for you esports guys and girls, YouTube to relaunch live stream service with focus on esports and gaming. Now, of course, because the other deal fell through when they were trying to acquire Twitch, they decided now they're going to take Twitch and Hitbox and every other streaming service head on. That's what YouTube's going to do. Now, understand, because they're doing this now, everyone's going to have their hands out. Every person, not just people who go to tournaments, but every person who monetizes, every person who streams, and tries to get money out of it, this is their thing. You just gave them more ammo. That's what you did. So YouTube, I understand you want to make things bigger, but you also have to understand there's a lot of problems that you still have with your, with your site. Hell, when I try to post comments in the comment section, it glitches. So one time, I'll have my paragraphs all spaced out and be fine. And next time, it looks like a damn wall of text. Like, it's ridiculous that you have so many problems. You still have not, you still don't, protect partners that, that get threats and things of that nature. You don't support them at all. We've seen time and time again all the problems that you don't even have a number to call for customer service for your partners. All right? Unless they're big, then they give you the secret number. Yeah, we know about that. So it goes to show you that with YouTube, they still have a problem, yet they're trying to make it bigger and bigger. And they have the money, because we saw how much they tried to shell out to pay for Twitch. So they have the money. They decide they don't want to do it right. And once again, community will probably just suck it up and say it's not that big of a deal. While they just get away with all this, while still giving you pennies. All you guys who want to make a living doing this, give you pennies while they're making so much more. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I think I'm done for today. I really didn't want to do this video, but it seems like ever since I turned on the camera, I just kind of got on my horse and just went with it, So, hopefully you liked the video. If not, that's fine. You know how that goes. People are idiots. What can I tell you? You've seen it all around now. Like I said, every week you see it all around. And the sad part is, when you do get some positive news, it gets crushed. Like I said, with the Test Your Mic community, they did the right thing and showed that, the communities, they will not stand for this type of harassment. It just gets buried down with all the rest of the negative stuff, man. It just does. It's sad. And every positive thing that you see, like I said, last week I showed you a number of positive things. And yet, you know how many people ignored that? You know how many people, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But this is what people like to do. Like, they want drama. And that's what it feels like. At this point, it's time to start turning our backs. I'm not saying on YouTubers. I'm saying, in the media. Those people in the media, understand that we're trying to fight for ethics. And if you look at the track record with Gamergate, a lot of sites have changed their ethics. They've updated their ethics. So that's a win for them. But these people who still want to keep coming out like Adam Sessler and saying things like this, nah, man. Nah. That helps nobody. It doesn't help anyone. All you're doing is escalating the situation. You're bringing attention to yourself just for people like me to bury the fuck out of you. That's what it is. And it's sad that you would be embarrassed. No. You have no right to be embarrassed by anybody. All right? After the things that you have said. It's sad. But I'm sure people will still follow Adam Sessler, right? There'll always be somebody who will defend him for saying such a thing. Disgusting. Anyways, I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe, man. I'm out.